welcome back to the Three Ways to Say It podcast. I am Ashley.
I'm Todd Carter.
What's good? What's bad? If you sad, get glad. This your boy Casey.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. This is episode 12. Tonight we'll be talking about some of the worst advice that we've received, and also just a few bullet points about that we wish that we received when we were younger. So I'll start it off. Worst advice that I've received, I would say, especially right now, don't quit your job. I think at this point, especially in life, if you know it's time to go, pack your stuff and go. Don't be hanging on to these jobs that don't care anything about you, that's not paying you what you the fair price. I keep saying price, wage. That you need to be paid. And just in general, if you're not liking it, then you should leave. So I'm gonna go with don't quit your job, because I didn't sit in jobs for 5 years, at least one job. It's not saying that I really didn't like it, because I did like the atmosphere, but just the job itself, no, I did not like it. Sorry. Yeah. What about y'all?
Well, my first one, and I'm gonna just say my second one, we come back around to me, but is go to school and pick a major based off how much money you're gonna make. And I hate and I know this happens a lot of black families period. I know people out there always want you to go to school because they're looking at the jobs you can get from it. But then a lot of people don't realize that if something is not your passion, you can definitely become unhappy. And like I always say, like you said, Ashley, money can't bring happiness, but it'll help. That's not enough, really. Like if your career is gonna be your everything, so you definitely don't want to get into some major and do something you don't want to do, because you're gonna end up unhappy. And I was like that. That's why I went to school, did biology, ended up having to change to English because I went with everybody saying be this nurse, be this doctor. No, and I ain't care about none of it. I ain't saying I don't care about taking care of people, but I don't. That wasn't my passion. And then I switched it to something that was. And now, I was thriving and doing good in school. So yeah, that's that one piece of bad advice. Going to school, picking a major based off how much money you're gonna make from it. That's a no. It's definitely a no. All right, that's my first one. Go ahead, Ty.
So for me, the worst advice that I received or that I was given, I won't say who gave it to me, but one of the things was not to enlist into the military. So I wanted to go to the Air Force right after high school, and I was sort of talked out of it, and I always regret that. The other thing is kind of go with that too, is that I should have left Alabama at some point. I think I was always afraid, or kind of talked into being afraid to leave, and I wish I would have. So that was the worst advice that I think I was given, that when I look back on my life now, I wish I would have done that in my earlier years. So that's what I have.
And I got a question before I say my second one. How do you feel like your life would have been different if you would have went to the military?
Oh, just more travel, which I have traveled a lot. Don't get me wrong. I just experiences, just to have that military experience, the coverages that the military, the benefits, things like that. Definitely wish I would have done that, because it was something that I wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
I can agree with that. I so wish I had that advice, especially coming from a military family.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't get that advice. I'm sorry. But yeah. And my second bad advice would be that I know people, and I don't know how many parents say this to people, but I know a lot of other people say, when you tell your child you're never wrong. I think that's some of the worst advice I think I've gotten, but I'm kind of broken out of that. I feel like I can always be wrong in situations. A lot of people tell you, always go with what you say. You're never wrong in situations. That, like, I guess your opinion and stuff is perfect. And I think that's some of the worst advice, because in the world, if you feel like you're never wrong, it's going to be hard to kind of even conversate with people, meet new people, understand other people's opinions, be open to different stuff. So that's some very, very bad advice. And people and older people, and you would be surprised how many people actually say that to like younger people, like that, you're not wrong, you're never wrong. Yeah, you can be wrong. So yeah, that's
you're saying that they're telling you that you were never wrong, or they were never wrong. Their advice.
They would be saying it to me like I'm never wrong. And I don't think, and that's something I don't think no younger person should hear, because if they take that mentality on with them, it's gonna be a rude awakening. Because you can always have your opinion, you can always stand 10 toes in it, but you don't ever want to think that you're never wrong, because then you're gonna be kind of end up being delusional or something. But yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I would also say too, parent wise too, because parents usually say to their kids, I'm not gonna say usually, but can say to their kids that, I'm right, an adult is always right, you're wrong. So they can create some type of friction as well too. So so what do you think would have been the best way? What is the best way to kind of say it to a child? Like if younger Keontae was talking to an adult, what would be a best way to say it, I guess?
I think it's better to say to children and younger people, especially, that you might not be right in this situation or something like that, but sometimes you are right, but you're just not right in this situation. Or I think a lot of people don't hear that everybody got a different opinion, and just because they don't agree with you doesn't mean they're wrong. And a lot of people don't say that, and that's why you get a lot of people I see on the internet all the time where they have these crazy opinions, and then when people disagree with them, they be outraged. Like they go on this rampage trying to defend themselves, and it's because somebody has not told them that you are not always right. So I do think a lot of younger people do need to hear that, like, you're not going to be right every time, and it's okay to be wrong sometimes. You might have all the everything, and then it just might not turn out how you thought it would. It just, you're gonna be wrong sometime, and that's human. I don't think we perfect. So that's what I would kind of shape that better to tell my younger self. But yeah, that is some horrible advice. But yeah.
Okay. So have you ever had an experience, even just with family members, where they told you when you were younger, like, I'm right, like an adult is always right?
Oh. I'm gonna say it without saying no matter who it is. I have had a lot of. I'm gonna tell you, like, I think since I was younger, I always be kind of vocal on certain stuff, and I think because of my age, people definitely didn't. What I say was not as credible as an adult could say. And yeah, you're supposed to be respectful, but that does not mean because I'm younger, I don't know. So I have had a lot of instances where I ended up in trouble because I disagreed with an adult, even though that adult was wrong, because I promise you, they still think like this. Adults always feel like they're right over younger people. Even though they be wrong, they gonna always feel like they're right. And I have had a situation where I probably need to be slapped in the mouth. Yeah. But I probably should have been popped in the mouth or something, because I was trying to get my point across, not knowing that, as a young person, just be respectful and not realize, you realize later on in life that you understand why they just feel like the younger people will listen to the, older people, whatever. But I was just trying to defend myself, saying, no, I understand you old, but I'm right. You know what I'm saying? So I've had several instances, and that's probably why people say I got a smart mouth. Because if I feel like I'm right, I'm probably gonna try to not argue down about it, but I'm gonna tell you how. Like, that's just So I have a lot of instances of that.
So
hopefully,
I'll jump in.
Go ahead.
As a parent, I would say, and having lived almost, longer than y'all. Sometimes I think a parent could just be saying to you is because they have already experienced some things that you may be experiencing. So they have, the knowledge of that experience. So they may say stuff to you, just keep living, so you have to, and then you have to understand, as you're younger, some things that you just haven't experienced yet, whereas your mother or your grandmother or something like that, they may have experienced that and know exactly what it is. It may be a little bit different because of the generations and how things have changed, but I can assure you that a lot of time, and then also that they don't have to always be right, because ain't nobody always right. But I think there from a standpoint as of is that, you know, I've already lived through this or I've experienced this before. And it's mostly trying to just make sure or give you a little advice to make sure that you don't make that mistake. Because some things is like in life, you just know, and you just know that experience, just having been here longer, you know, doesn't make you right, but it's just some things you just know, you know. And so I think this is coming from a place like that. That's all.
Yeah, I can see that. And let me clarify, it was not my mom and my grandma. They do not play it. I was not arguing. It wasn't them. Somebody else.
Okay.
Trust me, I always think they right. But yeah, I ain't playing with them like that. But yeah, in general, yeah. Okay, Ashley, and like you just said about how your worst advice was staying at a job, do you feel like that's like is it because of, you know, a tradition in the older generations that they stay with these jobs no matter if they were going through something bad, you know, if it was they were getting tired, they just felt like you got to put in years at this job no matter if you're happy or not. Do you feel like that's where it's stemmed from?
I do, and I do, and I also think that it comes from being stuck in a cycle as well. So growing up back in the days, it probably was, again, have kids, have a family. So you have to support the kids, right? So when you're in a situation at a job, and let's just say you want to leave, but you can't because you have to support your kids, which is fine. It's no judgment. And I think that's where a lot of it stems from. That's just what I believe some of it still stems from. And yeah, so.
Okay. And I would say, I guess I can speak for this younger generation where I do like to see, you know, I did talk about, I kind of talked about, we talked about quiet quitting a little bit, but I do like to see that younger people are starting to know their worth. And, you know, I say it all the time, even though I feel like I am somewhere where I can definitely be doing much more. I do feel like I can say those things like, I'm too educated for this. I got too much background for this. Like, I mean, you know, ain't no way this person finna do this over me, or I don't have to sit here and put up with this, you know, like, or, you know, a lot of people sit there and take these crazy words from people now list because they feel like, oh, if I say something back, I'm gonna be out of this job. That's not my, you know, I like that younger people don't hold that, you know, because that definitely is like prison. It's prison. You know what I'm saying? When you feel like you have no way out of it and you can't say nothing the wrong way, or you feel like you're gonna lose it. But yeah, I do like that. But that's all I had to say about that.
So going back to the question that y'all asked earlier is people staying on those jobs longer? So I would say, because I was a person who worked on a job for 14 years and I lost my job. And so I would say, yeah, it used to be a time where people stayed on jobs, you know, longer because it was kind of looked at like if you job hop, you know, like whether or not you're a stable employee. And so, and also too, you have to understand, just depending on that person, their education background or whatever it is that they have going on. I think that's why you stay. I know when I was on that particular job, I didn't have a degree, you know, and so I was just complacent for one. But I will say this, when I started that job, I was 24 years old. And I think was I 24? Yes. And then at, I think 26, maybe, I bought a home. So right out the gate, before I started to have children or whatever, I had real responsibilities. So I wasn't living at home anymore. So that was another reason why I was conditioned to stay on that job, because I had a brand new car and I had just purchased a home. So it was kind of like, I got real bills, real things to pay for. Like, I wasn't at home. I couldn't just decide, oh, I'm just going to go find another job, or I'm going to quit this job and I'm going to do something else, because I had real life bills. So, and then my child came. So my child came later. And then it was like, at that particular point, it wasn't no such thing as like, I mean, I could have been looking for another job, but I was just kind of comfortable in what I was doing. And it was working for me, because at that particular time, I didn't have no hardships I hadn't even really experienced life in a bad way at all. So everything in that moment, everything I went to go to do was just easy for me to do. So I kind of stayed in that easy zone, whereas if I probably would have went back to school at that particular time, it would have been a little more challenging. So I kind of settled into everything was easy for me to do. And I just kind of rolled that out. It was until I hit a bump or lost my job is when I decided, oh, wait a minute, I better go do something else. Hold on. Oh, this is what they're paying out here? Oh, let me go get a degree because this ain't gonna work, because I didn't know what people was making out there. So I will say that a lot of times, people do stay on jobs for, just because they're used to it. And it's kind of one of those things where it wasn't broke, so I wasn't trying to fix it.
Yeah. And that's understandable for people who they get in positions, and that's probably the best they can do at the time, was just like a good thing for their background and stuff.
Oh, and it was
that's
a good
understandable.
Job. I worked at the bank.
Right. Yeah,
it was a good job. I had a desk job, and I was using my brain, and I was, I was in several different departments, and I made a decent living. So, back in the day when I started the bank, those were some of those good, that's what you call a good job. So I was on a good job. And I had very good benefits, because with that job there, they had a pension, a 401k, they paid for schooling, and the insurance was very good. So, and also too, you can get stock. So that job came along with great benefits, because I was able to, once I lost my job, I was still able to, and still now I have a pension from that job, so those years of service there still paid off for me, in the long run from that particular job. So let me just say that about the job.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so now if you could say, if you were talking to your younger self right now, so if you had little Keontae and little Tasha and little Ashley right in front of you, what would you say to little Keontae right now? What advice would you give little bitty Casey?
Okay, hold on to deep. Mine a little deep, so
okay, I'm holding on. I love deep stuff.
Mine a little deep. Okay. And I guess I should elaborate just a little bit on when I say them, because I don't want to just be blank statements. So the first one would be, never let anyone tell you that you aren't masculine enough.
Okay.
And when I say that, I'm not saying I was not saying I walk right here in tutus, but you know what I mean? Like,
I don't
I don't feel like I ever pretended to be this super manly man. I just was, just cool. Like, I went with a whole bunch, I don't know. I'm just a go with the flow. I ain't got to do all that. But I do feel like in those, when you're younger, you're pressure to be like that as a male. Like, you have to be this super masculine, like you got to, or you just don't fit in. So that's my first one. Let me quit. Let me not go. I can go deep in that one. I'm not gonna do it. The second one is Casey. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. And luckily, I have a mother that still to this day can tell me now I can do whatever but when you're younger, I think that what I learned about like words being impeccable, like don't say you can't do something, because you're telling yourself you can't. You can do anything you put your mind to. And learning that early kind of helped me get to where I'm at now. So that's another one. Another one, Casey. Never compare yourself to the next person. And that's why I feel like I'm good now. Like, I see people my age, entrepreneurs doing their thing. It's people right now, these young people my age got this type of money. I'm like, where'd you get that from? But I don't turn it into like, oh, I got to do what they're doing, or I got to speed up what I'm doing because they are doing it. So yeah, I had to tell myself that early on, because I feel like that's how a lot of younger people get stuck in this. If somebody doing something bad, just because they make it look good on Instagram, they got to do the same thing so they can look good too. It's other ways, you know what I mean? You got your own journey. Yeah. So that's another one. Okay. The fourth one is, Casey, take high school more seriously. And the reason I say that is because I come from a school system where, like, other school systems prepared them for college and stuff. And not to dog the school system I was in, but they didn't push that, like, that
Right.
please take this high school area seriously, because it's definitely setting you up for college and stuff ahead. Like, it's when you get to those ACT tests and all that stuff, like, you're gonna realize, oh, I'm behind, and
Right.
thinking of why. And it's because of high school. High school really supposed to be that stage where you're supposed to build all your knowledge, learn new things as you becoming older. And when you don't take it serious, I feel like you miss on so many fundamental things. And I also feel like if I would have took high school serious, I would have been had all those full rides and the 26 on the 8, just
Right.
the stuff that you could have achieved. So I wish I would have took it seriously. And like I told y'all before, I was top 15 in my class, but I could have been more. And it's only because in high school they tell you, like, they tell you enough to pass. They want you to just graduate, and that's not enough to tell a young adult. It's just not. So that's it. And my last one is appreciate your mother and your grandmother. And I do wish I would have did that more. I do it now. Not saying I feel like you're younger, like you still developing. So a lot of the sacrifice stuff you see, you don't really process. Like, you don't, when your mama and grown and everybody making it happen for you, you don't process what they got to do to get there. So now I'm gonna separate them, because with my mama, man, that woman, she literally have done so much stuff for us and built us into these men now. And I feel like it's my duty now to appreciate her, because, and people bring children into this world. They don't have to be good parents. You know what I mean? People get away with not being good parents these days. Like, you can, just barely see the children. It's just stuff parents get away with. And for my mother to just always have us, never rely on somebody else, to take it on all herself, man, she deserves an award. And when I say my grandmother, it's because, a lot of people don't actually get a chance to really have these prime years with their grandmother. I know I've met a lot of people that literally have not, really seen their grandmother, or didn't get a chance to literally sit down and have those talks I have with my grandmother. Yeah, I know I laugh with her. She's funny, comedian to me. But sometimes I literally had to sit there and be like, man, I got my grandma. Like, a lot of people don't have this. So yes, I definitely wish when I was younger, somebody told me to appreciate my mom and grandma. And that's it. Before I make this, if I get the violins out to make it sad, that's it.
That's good. I definitely agree with appreciating. Well, I agree with all of them, but definitely appreciating your grandmother and realizing, like, she's still around. Because I tell you all the time that I wish, like, I had a chance to, be with my grandmother and stuff. So
yeah. I love those women.
I had a chance with both of my grandmothers, because both of my grandmothers lived to be, my dad's mother lived to be 92, and my mom lived to be 91. So actually, my father's grandmother, she died when I was in the hospital with Addison. I remember I was literally in the hospital and I couldn't attend the funeral because I was on bed rest. And that was in 2009 when I lost my grandmother. But yeah, you're right when you say that. It is such a joy to be around your grandparents. Now, I lost my grandfather. I didn't know one of my grandfathers, but I lost my other grandfather that I knew, which was just so awesome. He's the reason why I do family reunions today. But and I love to study him on ancestry and things like that. And that's my love for, like I say, for reunions. But it's just great to have grandparents and and just be around them, get that knowledge and just interact. So one day it was me and Haley and my mom and my mom's mom. And so we were going somewhere and I was just like, y'all, it's 4 generations in this car right now. It's been so much to me because it was just like Haley made it the 4th generation in the car. It's so amazing. But
And let me add this a little bit, because I said grandma, but I actually am thankful that I was able to have years with my great grandma too. Like, I tell you all the time.
I know,
I actually got to, be with my great grandma too. And I know she watching me right now, listening to me doing this. Yeah, I'm gonna shout you out. But like that too. Like, just I think some stuff you just have to appreciate because you don't realize how many people don't get a chance to, have this stuff.
Right.
Just be appreciative and grateful. Even for the simple things, just do that because you just
And
never know
ask
who
a
to.
lot of questions. You know
Yes,
me. That's why I
yes,
was like,
yeah,
man, I wish I had my grandparents around so I can ask, questions about back in the day because they lived through it instead of reading through a
yeah,
textbook. Like you actually experienced the 30s, 40s.
yes,
So
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So that's fine.
Okay, so what about you, Tasha?
All right. So I would say what I would tell my younger tot self. One of the things, let me just piggyback when he said about school. I think I would have taken high school more serious because he is right. Certain schools that we attend, I mean, they gave us the bare minimum. And then
Mm-hmm.
you will realize that you're not set up for, like, they didn't drill it into our head about those tests and how important. I mean, they did, but not in a way where we
We can
knew how to
retain.
get
Yeah.
scholarships,
Yeah.
and just it just wasn't done in certain schools. And I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't, even with my elementary school, let me just say this, and it's closed now. But those kids that went to the elementary school that I went to, when I tell you, from the principal, they had some good teachers. And let me say this first principal, because we had a second principal that was a principal that was really good. Miss Pugh was a very great principal, and she did a lot in the community, but they did not care about those kids. And they were doing things like, and I watched, y'all, this is off top a little bit, but I watched Monique Netflix show last night, and she talked about how she was in special ed. And I remember they were putting children in special ed that didn't need to be. They were children that were struggling reading. They wasn't giving them the help that they needed. And I mean, and it was all because this was a little, I don't want to make it that way, but it was.
If it say it like it is, yeah.
With people, it was a little black school. Now we had some more people. That school started out, it was white school. And then of course, as we moved into the area and stuff like that, it became an all black school with a couple little white children that went there. And they didn't care. But that's kind of off the subject. But I will say take school more important, because the other thing that I would say is that, and I told you earlier that I wanted to go off to the Air Force, but if I didn't go there, the other thing that I would have told my younger self is that, which I went to cosmetology school right after high school, but I would have went to a HBCU, and I would have went straight on into school had I known how to get there. I didn't really know how to apply for financial aid or how my other friends was getting there, back in the day and things like that. So that was one of the things. But yeah, if I was able to tell myself that, I would. Also, so I had my daughter close to 30. So I was a grown adult. Okay, let me just say that. And I would say to my younger self at that time that you do not have to get married because you had a daughter without being married. So I would tell my younger self, it's okay. You don't have to get married. Or so you have to understand that I came from a 2-parent home. And so you naturally, or me naturally, want to have a 2-parent home for my child as well. But looking back on that, no, I would tell my younger self, you don't have to get married. And let's see, what's my other thing here? It's gonna seem like I'm bashing him. And the other thing I would say, and I say this to both of you guys because y'all don't have any children, but I would say, and if you do decide to get married, try your best to marry someone who do not already have kids, especially when you don't have any. Try to have that experience with the person so that y'all can do that together. And then my last thing that I would say is that I wished I would have waited to, I would tell my younger self, wait for marriage before you do that so that you can have the whole experience the way that it's supposed to be. So those are some of the things that if I could change or tell little Tot to do, that's what I'll tell him.
Okay.
Okay, that's
and
good.
I like that marriage one because I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
See, not saying that, you know, I think we have to, in a way, sometimes break the cycle of like, we follow tradition so much that we literally do stuff without thinking. Like we do it because we think we're supposed to be doing that. And now, like we literally individuals, you got to live your life how you gonna live it. You can't be, I think in some ways we are so pressured to do stuff because we have seen it already. Like it just makes sense to do it. And so I do like that we think like that because we breaking a lot of cycles. Because I would hate for I have a child and then they literally think like, well, let me just do everything like my daddy did. No, like if maybe I didn't do everything right, so you do something different. So I do like that. I do like the talking about the marriage thing. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. And I think, we tend to see that a lot in the South as well. I always looked at it like, okay, first baby we had out of wedlock, and granted, I don't have any children. The first baby that we had out of wedlock. So why rush now into getting married if we already had the baby out of wedlock? Now, granted, if we're talking about having more kids, then yes, we need to focus on the marriage thing. But right now, let's see, what we want to do. No rush, because we know that some grandparents, even parents, tend to push kids, their kids into marrying after they have a child. So I can see that.
And
because
I also
those things where I think the father or even the mother, for instance, they just feel like, well, you done got my daughter pregnant, and now I'm going to have this baby. I need you to do right by my child. So it's kind of one of those things, yeah. So, but
yeah. And that's
so.
understandable because they're thinking like the same way that they grew up. It's tradition.
Exactly.
Like,
and then also me at the time, I just felt like, okay, hey, I always call him little buddy. Little buddy. Haley too. What we doing?
Yeah.
That's fair too. Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Okay, like we paying
at
bills
a certain
together.
Point.
Yeah.
We're doing everything together. Which, by the way, he was a pretty good boyfriend, but a lousy husband. But yeah, so it was kind of one of those things where it was kind of like, what we doing? But at the same time, I also understand I would never, ever, 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 because you want a person to be ready, and you just want it to be mutual. And so, and I look back on it. Oh, I ain't gonna say that, but anyway.
But I do commend you for, after even going through, no matter how the marriage went, being able to tell somebody younger than yourself, like, wait for marriage, because a lot of people go through this stuff and be like, well, you go through it too, like you will figure it out. For you to be able to pull that out and be like, don't do what I did, wait, that's commendable. That's what you want to go through stuff and be able to tell somebody not do the same thing. So it's commendable. Yeah. But okay.
Right. Okay. So, little Ashley, Fireball Ashley. So, the first one I would say, don't go to college right after high school. So, for me, I wish that I would have just, like you said, Tasha, maybe joined the military, worked a little until I figured out what I really wanted to do. Because I come from a small town, and it's either you're a teacher or you're a teacher. And, me, it's just like, okay, well, I'll be a doctor then. And deep down, it was just something to say. Did I really want to be a doctor? Not really. If I could have turned out to be a doctor, that would have been good, whatever.
Yeah.
So I wish that, maybe I would have just joined the military. So it'll be, at least I see it as an easy transition into the real world. It just kind of helps prepare you for the real world, discipline-wise anyway.
Right.
Next would be travel the world and see how other people live. So when I say that, when me traveling now, I always tell y'all, whenever I go somewhere, I always kind of pay attention to how other people are living. And from seeing that, I can see that most people aren't all into this social media or worrying about the next person, what the next person has on, or I have to get this big house because this person has a big house, or what do I have to go get the new Jordans today? That whole little thing. So I wish I could just would have explored the world a little more, and that's in maybe like 18 through 25. So I'll say that. Next one is take more risks. When I say that, it is so funny because today I was thinking, okay, I can zip line across the rainforest. I can go under waterfalls. I can jump in a cenote in Mexico. But when it's time for me to get up and move from my family, I can't do it. And I had the resources. They're right here. So technically, it ain't even really a risk. It's just fear. I have to understand that fear is literally an illusion. And I just have to do it. Just face it. The help is my safety net is right there. I'm literally saying it now. I can tell everyone else, like, no, face your fears, do all that. And I can't even do it.
Okay. But don't feel bad, Ashley, because that's one of the that I did not move away. I just feared that my dad would get sick if I moved away. Yeah. So I felt like, because he's just so used to me being, like even when y'all, it's so crazy. I'm sorry, I'm in on your time, but even when I bought my first house and I moved across town from where he was, he thought it was too far, and it was literally 20 minutes away. But I guess he wanted me to move on the next street over, or maybe 10 minutes away. So yes, I will say I did have the fear of moving, and I never did, and I do regret that.
Yeah.
See, so, and then even hearing that, it's giving me the motivation to do it, because I get homesick really fast, and my fear is that my parents will need me, but when I go over there, that especially my dad, who's a Sagittarius, he's like, no, go, you need to go, follow do this, go, and I'm like, okay, my mom's not saying anything, so is she gonna miss me? Is something gonna happen? I have to hurry back home, and it's just so many thoughts. So I'm like, just stop thinking about that. They have each other for one. Plus, we have other family members around just in case something does happen that they can, help until I get there.
And wait a minute. I'm sorry. We stepping all over your time. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I love it.
I did. Yeah. And I'm trying to break that, like, since I'm young, I'm just 26 and I'm planning to move next year. And then I'm not gonna lie, I talk about it to y'all a lot, but it's actually, it's eating me up inside. Like, I might not show it, but like, I'm gonna do it though, because I'm saying I'm gonna do it. I usually do what I'm gonna say, but it's really eating me up inside to leave my mama down here. I'm not gonna even lie to you. Even though it's just 2 hours away, it's still like having her right here.
Right.
And that's just my backbone, and I want to be here for her. It's eating me up now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I definitely understand it. Like, but I'm trying to get out of that. Like, fear is an illusion. So it's like, don't even worry about it. If she's telling me to do it, she wouldn't steer me wrong. So I'm just doing it.
Right.
And like the homesick part, I was homesick when I went to Alabama State. So I mean, I wanted to come home.
Man, what?
So,
what?
And I went up there thinking I was going. I partied for about 2 weeks, and I come home, I'm like, Mom, ready to come home. I get it, though. I get it. I really do get that. But I'm going to still leave regardless, but I really do get that. Yeah. So you can continue.
Okay. So saying no is okay. So I have to understand that telling people no is okay. Like, setting boundaries, having standards, and not being afraid that if they don't want to have a relationship with me or a friendship anymore, just because I said no, it is okay. So the same way I can cut people off, people have the same right to cut me off. Even if I'm intentionally, unintentionally, whatever, doing things, they have the right to cut me off as well. And I have to be fine with it. So saying no to whatever, it's okay, Ashley. Yeah. And last one, invest in yourself.
Yes.
So the same way, and investing in yourself goes really deep. So I'm just gonna skim the surface really quick with just the basics with material things. Um, Buying shoes and clothes and stuff that I don't need, right? Of course I need clothes and shoes, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep up with the latest, that thing. But if I would have bought books to help me learn a little more Spanish, I could be bilingual right now and making more money. Just those little things, because I always wanted to become bilingual.
Yeah.
But no, I'm spending money on unnecessary things. So that's just the surface of it. I didn't want to go too deep, but that's just that basic material stuff. So and also mental health, investing in yourself. You know something wrong, go take care of yourself, Ashley. Don't stop worrying about other people. Worry about yourself.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's just the 5, but I have plenty more, but those are just the top 5.
I about to say I can roll a list out if I really wanted to, but yeah.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back. So right now we'll just end the night with a few questions. So Keontae, did you have a question?
Yeah. Okay. So y'all, looking at yourself where you are now, do you feel like your younger self will be proud of who you are today? And you got to think for a minute. I know. Just think for a minute, because that's a tough one. Who want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So no, I wouldn't say I'll be proud where I am, because little Ashley is a fireball. She was very loud, and not loud in a way like Ratchet Hood, but loud, expressive. Now Ashley tends to, and that comes with age, I guess, and we're around people that are different from us. Just more silent about certain things, and I hate that. I hate being trapped of how I feel about certain things. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that part. So no, when it comes to speaking, I'm working on that right now. But fiery young Ashley, no, is take it how it is. Sorry.
Okay. Mine is gonna be yes and no. I don't think I can just say just one. I'm gonna say the bad first. My no would be, I think I always, when I was younger, I envisioned where I would be now. And because even now, like I look at myself like I'm younger, but I'm doing so much, I think I always envisioned it. I thought I could do the stuff when I was younger. Everything I'm doing, it's crazy because I had these ideas of like, when I was younger, they did ask me like skip grades and stuff like that. My mom said no, she didn't want to miss nothing. But even stuff like that, I used to see. It's crazy. I used to have like this child on TV. I don't even remember what his name was, but he was, I think, in high school, and he was like the youngest person to go ahead and go to college. I was like, that could be me.
Smart guy.
No, like this is an actual dude did this or something like that. I don't even know. I can't remember his name. It's so long ago. But he enrolled in college or whatever. They let him because of how smart he was. And I was like, that inspired me. Like, I like to reach for the stars. You know what I mean? So now, I'm not saying I'm not doing nothing, but I do feel like my younger self be like, boy, do some more. I ain't gonna lie, like you could do that. Like I have so many doubts in my mind and stuff now that I know my younger self be like, what you down for? Like, we don't play that, So on that end, no. And now that's just negative. But the yes, I would be yes, because when I was younger, I felt like I was more of the fall in line, kind of like whatever everybody else was doing, I do it, following that, not saying following the lead, but I was more of like to follow the trend. Now I'm so expressive in a way, ain't nobody matching me. Like I ain't gonna say I stand out, but I don't think you're gonna find somebody who just like exactly everything I like. More of that, like even for example, as like I tell you, like I still watch wrestling. I'm pretty sure there's people now who won't even admit that because it's so
still wear what?
Watch wrestling. And it's people now. Yeah, it's people now. It's probably people my age now will feel like that's childish. Why you watching that fake stuff? Stuff like that. But me now,
wrestling, and I used to watch wrestling even after I had Haley. Okay.
Yeah.
I was adult
Yeah.
watching with my brother-in-law before he died. We used to go to the wrestling match. When I met Terrence,
Yeah.
actually went to matches together. So no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
It's
people,
older than you.
right. And people, yeah, it's something with this. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, people just would look at it like, why you doing that? Even now, look at my wall, got SpongeBob, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Your room is
yeah,
It's
just
very
everything
expressive, like
around.
you
It's so
said. Yeah.
expressive. And now I would express myself to the fullest. It's nothing I won't wear, put on, like I don't care. I just don't care. Whatever I like is
Yeah.
what I like. I put it out there. I put it for the world to see. I could care less because I don't care about what the people think. I'm sorry, and I argue down about it. So yeah, my younger self would be definitely proud of that because I'm pretty sure that younger self was wearing whatever shoe everybody else had on, just following whatever the dudes was doing. Now I ain't even looking at what no dude around me doing, so I just do me. So yeah, that's my yes and my no. And that's it. Go
well,
ahead.
I would have to say, in terms of my answer too, I feel like you. Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that I have, set trends. I have been a trendsetter in my life among, some of my family and my friends. I have conquered some goals that I have always wanted to do. I literally reinvented myself. So when I look at, I've just always jumped out and did things to be the first person to do things. So on that, I can say, yes, I'm proud of myself, because I, again, reinvented myself. So yeah. But now, am I where I want to be on some things in life? No. But do I feel good about where I am? I do. Because when I look at how I do things, I have a good support system, but for the most part, I do things on my own without a cosign. So I am proud of the fact that when I'm doing something over here, it's just all me. So yes and no to that. And is it some more things that I want to do? Yes. And is it some more things that I'm going to do? Yeah, I got a whole little plan of things that I want to do. And I know that with trust in God, I'll get them done, because that's also how you achieve things. You have to believe that you can. And, as you're believing that you can, then you're able to tackle them big things that you used to doubt yourself with. So I know I have had periods in my life where I have doubted, I haven't went for this job or just doubted this. But when you, start to realize again who you are, because sometimes I think we fall off and forget who we are. And I had to remember I'm Ty Carter. So, those type of things. So, yeah.
Okay. Ashley.
Okay. So going back to your younger self, think of young Ashley, young Ty, young Casey. What advice would you give to your parents as your younger self?
Oh.
Wait a minute. What advice would I give to my parent as
Oh.
younger self?
Yeah. So pretty much
Someone,
saying like if
yeah,
you had to say something to your parent as a younger self, like you wish you would have told them when you was younger, advice wise, like example could be don't, try not to yell at me when you're talking to me. Like I can hear you without you yelling. Like that
Okay.
type. Just an
yeah.
example.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can go first, Mr. Casey.
Okay. Uh, um, I think because I'm gonna call myself trouble. Wow, I was not trouble. I was not a trouble child. I would say because I had a lot of people, not my mother, she always made sure I was good. I had a lot of family members around me who was like, and this is why I ended up in the wrong school at first. Or like, oh no, he need to do that. Like, no, he need to go to this school. He need to do nurse stuff like that. I wish I would have told them I got it, like just straight up. Because I
Mhm.
never addressed, I never addressed those things. I just somebody come tell me like they worry about you going this place and you doing this and I wish I would have told them. I'm glad that you are concerned, but I got it. I don't feel like I'm doing something where I have no direction in. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna be better than you. I wish I would have addressed them and actually told. That's why I say I'm sorry. I didn't say parent, but these are older people, so I'm just go to them. Like I literally had family members worry about like what school I need to go to, or you don't need to go to university. You need to start a community. Stuff like that was not
Yeah.
my. That's not what my goal, or that's what I was going towards anyway. So I wish I would have told them, I get it. Like I'm young, but I know what I'm doing, and I know it's hard to hear that from young people, but I knew what I was doing. Good look at me now.
You
But
getting paper. I'm so lame.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm about to say. But yeah, that right there. Yeah.
okay, okay. What
Even though
about
you did say
you,
parents, sorry.
Tasha?
So I would just say, if I could say to my parents when I was younger as advice, is that I would just say thank y'all. Because at the time when my parents was strict on me, or there was certain things that I just couldn't do, at the time I just felt like, why I can't do it? Yeah, I won't go do this. And as you become a parent yourself, then you understand why my mom wouldn't let me go to sleepovers, why my mom, will only entrust me to go with my brother or my older cousin that she trusted. So, they was very particular about, now my brother can go a little further than me and stuff like that, but I couldn't. And I understand that. I really do. When I, listen to some of these podcasts and listen to other people's stories, and, sometimes people tell you they've been raped, and, where somebody have tried to do this and that to them when they stayed over, went here and went there. Now, when I have myself, now I understand why, your parents don't let you do something. So I would just say to my mom, my mom's birthday is next week, but I have the most best mom in this whole wide world. I kid you not. My mom is so super. And I would just say to her as a little girl, you're doing such an amazing job. You are just so awesome. And my dad as well, because my dad is such a protector and have just always just loved his baby girl. So I would just say, hey, y'all are just awesome. And I just thank y'all for covering me the way you do, because I feel so loved. So that's what I would say to my parents.
Okay.
Okay.
And wait, before you
go
go
ahead.
I was gonna say, and it's crazy to think about that when we're younger, we never think to just say thank you. And
Right.
I don't know
True.
if it's because it's probably because we're not like fully developed up there. We don't think about what's going on. We literally never understand how much a thank you would encourage them to let them know they're doing the right thing.
Right.
So if a younger person is watching, just tell your parents, just thank you. Just simply, I'm grateful. Just thank you. You don't even have to get a detail. Just thank you. Thank you.
Parents go through.
Yeah, no, I said just say thank you. Because we literally, when we're younger, we do not think to just say thank you. That's the one thing we probably forget to say. We'll say, oh, why I can't do why I do this, but we say just thank you. And that's it. But okay, go ahead, Ashley. Sorry.
I would say younger Ashley would tell mother and father to push me a little more. Okay. I think I needed a little more pushing. Granted, I love the fact that they knew I could get stuff done and let Ashley be Ashley and all that, but just push me on the back a little more. Ashley, why don't you try this? Ashley, why don't you try that? Do this or do that. It was like, no, Ashley got it. I don't have to look at Ashley grades. I know they're good. Okay. That whole little thing. So I would say that mother and father, I wish you would have pushed me more.
And I just said that, would you, as looking at your younger self, you feel like you would have, is that something you would have pushed your younger self more? Like if you look at it like that?
Okay. Yes, I definitely would have. I think I would have been a little further in life if I was pushed a little more, and not blaming them because but just saying, I definitely. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, I guess when we, and when you like the child that the parent don't really have to worry about, or like, they good, you can't, parents probably sometimes don't think they have to do that. But it actually, you literally have to, I think you have to push all of them at the same rate, just no matter what, just always just push them a little bit, just tell them the sky the limit, just
have to check on them. Even if it's, and you got to give them both equal time, but you have to have the care and the concern for both. And yeah, I mean, you literally just have to push them, talk to them, and you never stop parent. And you know, here's the thing I said to my mom just the other day. My mom comes to my aid right now. Like, you don't ever stop being a parent. And my mom has not stopped being a parent, because trust me, if I need something, my mom is going to do it. My dad is going to do it too. And it just shows that no matter how old you are, if your parents are still living and they're good parents, they are still making things happen, you know, and they're still concerned about your life. They're still giving you advice. They're still, you know, if you're crying, you know, they crying, you know, and when you're hurting, they're hurting. So yeah, parenting doesn't stop. I definitely say, yeah.
And we'll talk about that actually on another episode where I think, you know, in our community, we tend to think like parenting stops at 18. Like once you out the house, you know, we tend to hear that. Like,
as long as you got a child, you parent.
My baby 18. I'm good. We good. Like, no, this is where you really need to start parenting. At 18. Yes.
And it's where it become a little more difficult, because now you're dealing with somebody who feel like they are older and, you know, like grown or whatever. So it actually is the challenging stage.
Yeah.
It's where you have to really put your boots and time up, you know, to do it.
Right. Because you got to let them adult, but you also have to respect them as an adult, but you also just want to kind of still guide them and be concerned. Yeah. And even when you're my age, you know, I still ask my mom for advice, because my mom be right on the money. You cannot fool her.
Any last remarks?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. And because you said about Monique, I just want to tell everybody that Monique, my baby mama, I told you I love her, and I'm glad
Monique
you talked about her today. You know, the one off the podcast, the comedian.
Oh, that Monique. You know? I'm like, who is Monique?
You know, that's my baby mama. You know, she don't know it though, but I love you, Monique. But I guess my last remarks will be to younger people. You know what? I always say younger people. Let me talk to younger males, because I feel like that's what I'm up here for. I think I gotta look at my purpose. Younger males. I know that it is tough being a younger male going through puberty. It's a lot of pressure. You know, they might not look at you as like that tough dude, so they're gonna push you to the side. Don't let them. Don't let them. Don't even think about the people around you. I'm gonna be honest with you, because when you look at it now, half of them tough dudes don't be about that when they get older anyway. It don't matter.
Right.
And I always say like that, like they say high school popularity do not follow you. Please believe in it. Them dudes who pick them girls looking at, and you feel like you ain't getting looked at enough. Trust me, you're gonna get them one day. Don't let them discourage you. Know you that dude, and can't nobody tell you nothing. Just carry that. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you a football player. I don't care if you watch anime. I don't care if you I don't care what you do. Just know you that dude, and just stop comparing yourself to the other dudes. Just know you are an individual at the end of the day. And don't even worry about it. You're going to get them one day. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I feel like they need to get it.
Amen. Okay, so I would like to say, be your authentic self. As you can see, like I said, I don't feel like younger Ashley would see Ashley and be like, you're not being your authentic self. So when I say that, be true to who you are, be true to what you're doing. We know that's not easy at times, right? So again, don't be one way over here and one way over there and in the middle. We know it's times where you got to be like that. We know, but when I say that, y'all know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Be authentic. It's not saying, I keep saying what it's not saying, but be authentic. Be true to who you are. Stand 10 toes down on what you said.
Yep.
And that's it. I'm going to leave it like Nene said. I said what I said, and I ain't changing.
That's right. And 10 toes down.
That's it.
All right, y'all. So for my last comment, I am going to switch gears just a little bit. So you know that we are in Holy Week this week. And actually today is Thursday. And so today is called Monday, Thursday, because this is the day of the Last Supper. So I just wanted to just tell y'all a couple of little things about that, because this is just when Jesus went and died on the cross for us. And so, you know, it's just really important, and something that it ain't about coloring your Easter eggs and hiding them for your kids. I mean, that's stuff that we do, and yeah, it's fun, but it's so much bigger than that. So I just wanted to, you know, just kind of say a couple of things about that. One of the things when I was at church Sunday is like they were just kind of going back through some of the things that happened to Jesus as he was dying on the cross. And one of the things was that, y'all, it took 6 hours for that to happen. It started at like 9 a.m. and it didn't stop. It didn't end until 3 p.m. And when we see it on TV, when we see it like whips, kind of like how they did people in slavery, it was nothing like that. You know, it was where it was, and he also received like 39 lashes, but the way that they describe how the thing was, it was like strings of stuff that had things on it that just like went into his skin, not like a whip. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing like that. But if y'all get a chance, you know, go out there and look at the story and just see everything that's happened. And then I do want to, you know, leave y'all with a scripture, which is John 1:29, which is just saying Jesus is the Lamb of God. And so, you know, he was our great sacrifice. That's all I want to say.
Okay. All right. Happy Easter.
I know. Happy Easter.
Yes.
Okay, you guys. So we're going to end tonight again with a happy Easter. Catch you guys on the next episode. Do you know what it's going to be about?
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it is. It's okay. She'll figure it out.
I was kind of going back and forth. I don't know. I wanted to talk about soul ties, but maybe not. I don't know. And also, y'all, wait, quick before we go. I'm sorry. I wanted to say I lost my aunt. My uncle's wife, she died this week. And so I just want to, you know, just say that I am praying for my family. Her name was Carolyn Norsworthy. She lost her battle with cancer on Tuesday. And so I just want to just say that I am thinking about her.
Okay.
Sorry to hear that. We'll be praying.
Prayer to the family.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, you guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a good night.
A happy Easter, and bring me some eggs. Bye-bye.
Oh, I'm coloring it too.
See?